Good morning. This is Right Behind You by Gail Giles. This is part one, Alaska, and chapter five, When People Explode. My home, or the hood, as the other kids called it, was a state mental ward for dangerous juvenile offenders. The ward was supposed to be for 12 to 14-year-olds. At 9, I was the youngest to enter for the 4 years and 7 months that I lived there. For me, there had been no provisions for under 12s that committed such a horrible crime, but I wouldn't be the last. Some were there for evaluation before trials, like me. There were some, like me, were there because the system wasn't too sure what to do with us. Some were too batshit crazy to go to trial and too dangerous to let loose. A 10-year-old joined us when I was 12, but he was a hardened 10 whose father had pimped him to other men since he was 6. He'd stabbed one of the clients and his father during one of the transactions. The other kids called him Twofer and gave him a lot of respect. I was simply scared shitless of him. Cowboy was a school shooter. Yes, a school shooter in Alaska. He unloaded on a class in his middle school. From all we could figure, his reasoning was that it seemed like an easy path to stardom. Slice and Dice was into retro. He talked like a Miami Vice rerun. He was in for dismembering neighbors' pets and stashing the parts in their houses to provide them with a macabre kind of Easter egg hunt. Just 14, he was in for a veil so he could be squirreled somewhere before he started dismembering people. We went to classes, school type and therapy type. We had individual therapy, group therapy, regulated study time, and monitored free time. We did it all moving in the cubes of gray. The floors were gray. The walls were cinder block covered with layer upon layer upon layer of thick gray paint. Hard, unrelenting, no paintings, sharp edges, no bright colors, can aggravate aggression, high ceilings with recessed fluorescent lighting, patients can't reach glass bulbs, needed for dark winter days. But in summer, the light poured in the vast, unbarred windows, bulletproof glass, and bounced off the shiny walls and floors like the sounds did, echoing and amplifying. I hated the summer. The noise was bad enough. The light and the noise pushed me to the edge. And all the inhabitants were edgy, so we took a lot of pills. Pills were the loon platoon's version of baseball cards. Barter and protection, cloaked in another person's spit. We were in art therapy once when Slice and Dice sidled up close to Cowboy, Twofer, and me. Hey, player. He leaned in close to Cowboy. I have info you might want, bro. We were all in white, but reality wasn't Slice and Dice's long suit. What'll it cost me? Cowboy asked. Tongue your sleeping pill and give it to me tomorrow. Ask for one of your own. Slice peeked over her shoulder and down the stark gray linoleum-covered floored halls. Man, they write all that down and give it to the feds. And the feds do what with that information? Cowboy asked. Slice scratched his head. You want to know what's up or not? Hey, I said, I'll give you mine. Cowboy needs his. I'll take my own pill. By tomorrow, Slice and Dice would have forgotten or decided that the missing pill was part of a global conspiracy. He crooked his finger, motioning us forward, looking around, probably checking for federal listening devices. There was another shoot 'em up. Cowboy turned to Stone. Yeah, in Boston. Or maybe Maine. You know, lower 48. It's all alike. I watched Cowboy's face, but there wasn't even a flicker. This player did it up proud, Slice said. More than you. Then he ate the gun. I swear, I saw Cowboy shimmer and dim. Player's gonna be famous, man. You're gonna be an also-ran. Get out of his face, Slice, I said. Slice and Dice's eyes ranked me, head to foot. His voice turned lethal. Man, you gotta learn to get along. He pulled me away and looked over his shoulder. You got a dog? I might get out of here someday. That afternoon, Cowboy brought a broken toothbrush into the shrink's office, placed it in his own jugular, and jammed it home, right in front of the doctor. Cowboy wanted the newspaper ink, even if he had to die to get it. He did die. I guess you can't put a tourniquet on someone's neck. We were all put in lockdown for 24 hours except for our own private sessions and one group session on our floor. Did Slice goad Cowboy into suicide? In my mind, Cowboy was a dead man since the day he shot up the classroom. So what was I? Why hadn't I thought about offing myself? Why didn't I think about killing anybody else? On my 12th birthday, I came into the Frown's office, sat down, and put my newly big feet on his desk in imitation. The Frown called this a differential stage of denial. First, I denied the incident with shock. Now I denied it with attitude. I don't need to talk about what happened, dude. The Frown couldn't get me back to cartoon coyotes or remembering the smell of gasoline on a hot day in July. What's that? I asked. Present. To you, to me. Cool, I said. He'd never given me a gift. Birthday, Christmas, nothing. Why didn't I see the trap that was about to be strung? I tugged the ribbon and opened the box. A baseball glove. The color of leaves when they first drop to the ground. I stared into the box like it was a well of lost secrets. The soft brown leather looked as supple as my mother's summer tan skin. It was his birthday present too, I said. I know. When I looked up, the Frown was blurred, his feet off the desk. I interviewed Bobby's parents over a year ago. Asked them why Bobby came to your house that day. He was showing off his glove. Were you mad at him? I nodded, looking back into the box. I wanted to ruin the glove. I pushed my fingers through my hair, tugging for the pain. I closed my eyes. I don't think I even saw Bobby. I just saw the glove. Even if I could get rid of it, if he didn't have it, we would have been even, sort of. Are you sure you didn't want to hurt Bobby? Said the Frown. And for the first time ever, I was sure. Somewhere deep in the thought had been gnawing and chewing at me, digging at me with sharp teeth where I could identify what it wanted. I just wanted Bobby to go home. I didn't want him to hear the argument. I didn't want to hear it either. Everything Bobby had was good, and my life was all in pieces, and he had that glove. And if you ruined the glove, he'd go home, the Frown said. I nodded. But I saw those flames eat up Bobby's clothes and then his hair and his skin, and he screamed, and then I knew nothing would be like the cartoons. And then zero. I could hear it or see it, and I snatched up the glove out of the box and hurled it at the wall. All of this, I opened my arms, all of this, my voice broke and I fought back the tears that stung in my eyes, is Dad's fault. He left the gas out there, and the lighter. What kind of father does that? I leaned toward the desk. I hate him for that. I was a little kid. None of this would have happened. Bobby would be alive and I would still be a kid if he had. I couldn't be still, and jumped to my feet and paced, and Aunt Gemma trying to take me away. I lost my mom. Now she wants me to lose my dad and my home. My head hurt all the time, just pound, pound, pound like someone kicking me. And Mom, she went and died. I was 9 years old. How could she do that to me? I picked up the bowl of multicolored candies and flung them across the room. The plastic bowl made a decent thud against the door. But I'm not a monster. You're angry. You were carrying a lot of weight for someone that young. All the people that were supposed to protect you seemed to have let you down. He had no idea how right he was. And there was also a secret that I couldn't tell him. You, I shouted at the Frown, need to know when to back off. You're going where you don't belong. Did you get your degree online or something? My shouting had alerted the orderly of the day. He came in through the door looking for action, and I gave it to him. I launched at him and head-butted him square in the chest. Instead, I ended up on the floor and wasn't even rewarded with a satisfying umph. His chest was a brick wall and my head was a melon. I'm guessing you have another headache, the Frown said. He wasn't sarcastic. He was sad, like he expected all of this. I'm locking you in for a couple of days. You can have something for your head. OOTD pointed me to the door without a word. I kicked the chair as I left. We walked in silence until we reached the ward entrance. As he unlocked the doors, his deep voice was quiet, calm. Every bit of that goes into your file. The judge reads it, kicking the chair, everything. You don't want that. Fuck off. I'm not putting that on your record. You know why? You're not tough. You're broken.